Hello everyone, my name is Ryan, and welcome to what is this? The 8th devlog? I think it's the 8th. Version 079 devlog. Now, throughout this version, I've done a good bit. Wait a second. Alright, so throughout this version, I've done a good bit. And it's not entirely just for the game itself, but it's also the trailer and a Kickstarter that I've launched. So I'm going to be getting into those real quick here, and then at the end of the video I want to go over a couple little different stuff I found out and just interesting stuff to me. Right, so before I get into the Kickstarter info, I've made a pretty banging trailer actually. Now, I'm pretty impressed by the trailer, and it seems like a lot of people I show, they're pretty impressed by it. So I think it's an overall pretty decent trailer. And that's good because I had spent a good bit just getting feedback from strangers, and then I came up with the trailer that is kind of being displayed here. It's pretty good. Now, the importance of that trailer is in regards to the Kickstarter and the future Steam page. I'm not sure if I'm going to get around to making another trailer before I put the demo out on Steam, but that's kind of a future talk. That's something in the future to worry about. Right now, I have a Kickstarter going for the game. Now, the game is going to exist no matter what, and I have made that blatantly clear on the Kickstarter campaign, and I only want people to back it if they understand that. I don't want to mislead anyone, and the whole Kickstarter, like all of the guidelines for Kickstarter are based around complete honesty. So I didn't want to mislead anyone, and I want them all to understand that this game will still exist, it's just it won't live up to its full potential, or at least that's how I feel about it. Now, I had a bit of trouble coming up with this Kickstarter, and honestly, a lot of it was an impulse decision. I had wanted to make use of the Screenshot Saturday hashtag, so I was trying to get it out by Saturday, and I did. But because I had wanted to get it out by Saturday, I didn't exactly have time to go through the same feedback loop that I did with the trailer. We'll see if that actually has an effect in the future, but that all said, I'll leave a Kickstarter link down in the description. There is the entire campaign is riddled with history from the game and how it came to be and where the game is now, details and all that good stuff. And I think that's all I wanted to cover about the trailer and the Kickstarter. I'm gonna leave a link down in the description below for both of them. And if you do go check out the Kickstarter, just make sure you read it. Just make sure you understand what the point is. Maybe I'm too honest for my own good. Now on to the 079 update. This update, its main focus was polishing, and the point of the update was to convince people that the game actually had potential. Which it has in the past, it's had several annoying bugs that I've personally got kind of mad at whenever I would encounter them in the game, so I had to fix them up. Namely speaking, the ceiling bug where you couldn't actually run into the side of a ceiling because you just kind of freeze in place. Bad coding on my part, but it's fixed now. Now, there is some new content, aside from the polishing, and we'll start off with the town. The town is a hell of a lot better. It actually feels like a small community now, and the reason for that is because it's based on where I live. Now, the new town actually has houses and humans and not cylinders or whatever the hell this was. I don't know why this was in the game for so long, but it's out now. Now the NPCs are actually going to change their dialogue, and they actually kind of feel like they have some life, they have some attitude. There's some NPC that is, that's ecstatic about this labyrinth. There's some NPCs that are terrified of the labyrinth. They don't want to sleep, while some NPCs want to sleep because they love the thrill of it. So these attitudes are kind of conveyed through their animations. Like I've kind of made some guy that looks disgruntled, for the lack of a better word, and then there's this guy who looks happy. Like, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with him. So yeah, it's cool though. And how I mentioned earlier, the NPCs will change their dialogue in hopes to kind of guide the player, in hopes of kind of motivating the player. Maybe they'll tell them a little secret, or maybe they'll tell them like, oh hey, I was able to fling a torch off a wall and hit a golem with it, and it got me the upper hand in battle. So I hope the NPC dialogue change adds a good bit to the town, and on to the next part of the devlog. Right, so the next thing to mention, mimics. Mimics are much more threatful. Threatful? Threatening. That's the word. Mimics are a lot more threatening this time, and for the future also. And I've made a change where, as a mimic gets startled, they're going to throw out a short fuse bomb. Does the same damage as all the other ones that they throw out, and it's a shorter fuse, and it has a bit less velocity, so chances are is that the player is going to be hit by it if they try to open the chest without realizing that it's a mimic. Because if they realize it's a mimic, they should probably get the hell out of there before the bomb actually explodes. Alright, so the next thing, pitfalls. Pitfalls are added. They are a new trap in the labyrinth. They can spawn a little further away than the spike traps. So after a player steps on discarded land, they'll be able to hear a little sound cue. And then a second later, the floor will collapse below them. It'll vanish, there's nothing there, and then they'll just end up falling. Let's see. The town, mimics, pitfalls. I think that's all I wanted to mention. Now, for the last part of the video, there's some other stuff I feel like mentioning, and stuff I found out and whatnot. First off, Game Jolt. I had gone into an incognito window. I'd gone to GameJolt.com. I filtered it by roguelikes, and my game is at the bottom of the second page. May not sound like much because no one ever goes to the second page of Google, but it is getting up there. And the next thing I want to bring up in this video will hopefully move that up even more. So, the next point I wanted to bring up is, I'm going to be just, Now, the next point I wanted to bring up, I'm going to be changing the structure of these devlogs. Now, within the small community I have on Discord, this structure seems pretty alright. There doesn't seem to be any hate on it, but the thing is that how I do these now, I'm only getting one of them out per month. Issue with that is that whenever I upload a video, I would like to be able to post it onto a bunch of different servers and promote myself and all that. If I'm only doing it once a month, though, then they may not remember me from the previous month, and that's why I think I'm going to be switching it to weekly basis. This weekly basis will be covering what I do in a week as opposed to what I do in a whole version, and maybe I can actually go even more in depth with these little bits and pieces of the update. I'm not sure how the recording and editing process will be going for these weekly devlogs, but there does really need to be a change. Just because of how slow the game is growing in terms of popularity, I feel like it's not akin to the effort that I'm putting into the dedication with the game. I feel like I should be getting a little more, in all honesty. So if I start making these on a weekly basis, I'll be able to post them more and more onto other servers on a weekly basis. And hopefully people will actually remember what the game is, and maybe they'll see it enough to the point where they'll be like, oh my god, alright, calm down, stop promoting yourself every single week. I'll check out the video. Maybe they'll like it. I don't know. But I think that's all I wanted to cover in this devlog. As always, links are in the description for everything relevant to me. And I hope you have a good day. I will see you next week, or see you next devlog.